Welcome back to the Who's Yanks. We have another Who's Yanks. We talking Canada soccer and U.S. soccer tonight. Yes, I know I did say that I was going to do another roster video, but might as well just continue with the topic of injuries, as I know this one also happened a few weeks ago now. So this is a little late to the party, but might as well just talk about it, because I mean, heck, we just talked about Cristian Roldan's injury. Let's talk about Daryl Dike's injury that he had. He's a thigh injury. And yes, I know a lot of you are going to say, well, yes, this injury, it hurts, but it's not as significant as Cristian Roldan, because, Daryl Dike has pretty much been, he's been struggling with injuries ever since the Gold Cup of 2021. And, yeah, it's been pretty tough. But, yeah, nothing to say. It's just like, yeah, things have been tough for him, and I know when he was on fire, especially in 2020-2021 season, he was really, and he gave the USA everything, or he gave them a lot, and a lot of attacking options. But unfortunately, with West Broom, he got injured, and then another injury. So for him, unfortunately, the injury train just doesn't stop, and things just cannot get better for him, unfortunately. And yeah, it's a big blow to him, and I know, especially for his World Cup hopes, he was looking to playing with the USA. And just like what I talked about Roldan, that's also can be emotionally, it can also affect him emotionally, just like physically too. So this is very tough from Daryl Dike, but as I said, and a lot of people have said it, and they've hit the nail right on the head, this injury, Daryl Dike, even if he was healthy, it would have been tough for him to crack that attacking position, as I'm going to also talk about, and also probably show a list of the attackers that the USA are kind of looking at right now, and kind of who's more likely to play. Then again, we do have a few injuries like Gio Reyna, but still, then again, over the options that are available for the USA's attack, would Daryl Dike really slide in, or would he still be an option? I mean, probably not, as I said, he's cooled down, and he was on fire, but yeah, I mean, he's been quiet ever since. And then again, fairness to him, he's been injured a lot, and that's really hindered him from really developing and getting things going attackingly. So yeah, but it's just really unfortunate, and it's just another injury that I just want to go ahead and talk about. Yes, it happened. This happened weeks ago, a long time ago, in comparison to Roldan's injury. But still, let me go ahead and just talk about it, since it is related to the USA. And yes, this does kind of affect the USA's depth charts, but then again, the USA has other attacks like Ricardo Pepi, now Brendan Vasquez, Jesus Ferreira. There's a lot of attacking options that the USA has called in over Dike. But yeah, when Dike was on fire, man, I mean, he was really good. I gotta say, from Orlando City product, he did really well. But nonetheless, I have an article that I am going to read to you guys before we kind of talk about the attacking options. Then again, this was Matt Doyle's old list from 2021. So as I said, I've added a few names here, like Ricardo Pepi, Jesus Ferreira, and Brendan Vasquez, that potentially, if they're not on the list already, and they could potentially fill that list. So if I can't speak right now, which is, come on, I got to get a grip. But yeah, let me go ahead and just start with Sports Illustrated article. By the way, I forgot to mention, this article will be in the description, just like I went ahead and put the Cristian Roldan MLS article in the last video's description, if you want to read that for yourself. But I am going to read this real quick, and then we are going to talk about, or go through the kind of list of the other remaining attacking options that are left in the depth chart for the USA. So on this one, we start with Daryl Dike's thigh injury, thoughts, his U.S. World Cup hopes. And yeah, very unfortunate, but yeah, it's tough. But Daryl Dike is running out of chances to state his case for the USA's 2022 World Cup roster. The Oklahoma-born West Broom forward is back on the injured list after suffering a thigh injury in training, which is a significant setback considering the remaining time between now and the World Cup, and the littles he's been able to play throughout the calendar year, which is what I said. Even if he has been healthy, he's got to get back into form. Dike has scored 2 goals in the preseason and was primed for a big role with the Baggies this season. However, he came off the bench for the final 12 minutes of the West Blue season opening draw versus Middleborough, but it appears like it'll be some time before he sees the pitch again. And that unfortunate development also puts his U.S. hopes and playing time on thin ice. It's a real frustration for us and the boy, wrestling manager Steve Bruce said, according to the Birmingham Mail. He's young, he's 22, desperate to go to the World Cup with his nation, and has worked tirelessly to get right. Yesterday he kicked the ball and has done something to his thigh, which didn't look very good. We're hoping it's not too bad, but from my experience, it's bad. Enough where he pulled up and he kicked the ball. It's frustrating. He knew right away, and he's devastated just like all of us. We're devastated for him because he's really popular among the supporters because of the way he plays and the way he is. It's bad luck. It's really, really bad luck. He's got a 22-year-old who just comes here and who's never been injured, and then he picks up an injury, three injuries since he's walked into the door last January, and Dike has taken himself out of consideration for the USA's June camp, as we saw, instead of sticking with his club for the summer with an eye on returning to the full fitness and carving out his role for the season ahead. The thinking was that getting off to the best possible start for the 2022-2023 season would thrust them back into the USA's picture in time for the pre-Qatar preparations. I spoke to Greg, said Bruce, who once coached the U.S. manager, Greg Berhalter, and they have been very, very sensible and they understand the situation going on. Daryl will not be involved in the internationals. There's another one in September, so that is what he's focusing on. It's good for Daryl too, but it's also good to clear that up. He can concentrate on whatever is in store to make sure that he can have a really, really good summer before he comes back for preseason. We have waited this long, so we have to make sure we get this right. Truly, the wait will have to go on as it relates to Dike's involvement on the international level. It could extend beyond the 2022 World Cup. There's one U.S. camp remaining before Berhalter makes his 26-man roster permanent selection, and that will take place in late September. That's a tight timetable for someone who didn't participate in any World Cup qualifying and has some considerable ground to make up, which, as I said, even if he was healthy, he has to be informed and he has to get back to his scoring ways. Dike, who has scored in the last 5 matches with Orlando City before heading back abroad, has 3 goals in 8 camps for the USA, but hasn't played for his country since the 2021 Gold Cup semifinal versus Qatar just over a year ago, which, by the way, and that's the end of the article, but by the way, he was phenomenal, and that's what I say. I believe he scored a few goals against Haiti. He had a few goals, and he looked really, really solid. And another person, too, that's also a name that I'm going to talk about here is Matthew Hoppe, which, kind of segueing into that, here's a list of center forwards that we have, but but before we go to the center, left, right forwards, just a few names I'm just going to list off here. We've got, as I said, Matthew Hoppe, Jesus Ferreira, Ricardo Pepi. I know he's been quiet. And now Brendan Vasquez all of a sudden busted onto the seams. So, all of them, honestly, were pretty ahead of Dike at this point. But, hey, that's why I said it would have been tough for Dike to really try and break back into the lineup, given how all these names and all these depths in the depth chart are really cracking in. But nonetheless, there's some other names, too, that I didn't think about. And other names that I kind of don't really agree with on this list. Then again, this list is from 2021, so it is quite old, but I am kind of using it as a guide, just like I did with Christian Rodon with the midfield. Some of these names you're going to look at, and you are going to have to wince at or grimace at, because some of them will just. I'm pretty sure we can all agree that we rather not see them play for the USA, not for a while at least, or sometimes ever again. But nonetheless, let's start with our center forward options that apparently the names that are here. It's Zassi Zardes, Josh Sargent, and Josie Altidore. Now, all of these 3 names, honestly, have their own controversy. Obviously, Josie Altidore, which I can agree with, is too old, and it's time to move on. As a USMNT fan, I'm pretty sure most fans can agree. His time is up. He did everything he could. 2014 World Cup days, remember that with Clint Dempsey, and he's part of that generation. It's just time to move on. And yeah, the time's up for that. Next up, Zardes. In my opinion, I've seen some people trying to call him back. Some people, majority actually, including me, are like, nah, we'd rather not see Zardes back and play for a forward position because every time he has the ball, he always skies it in front of the net. I don't know how, but it's this problem. He never does it when it counts with the national team. He always scores these goals for Colorado, which is the team he's playing right now, not Columbus. He just got traded to Colorado, but whether it's for Columbus, Colorado, he never scores when it counts for the national team. And not to be a downer, but every time he has a chance, it just somehow skies open net or just misses, even if it's on a silver platter. So Zardes, for me, we think we could do a little bit better. Josh Sargent. Now this is another controversial name that people are kind of because he's been quiet. And yes, he's young, just like Christian Pulisic, but he hasn't really been scoring a lot, and he's not on fire. Just like he's another one of the players that's kind of cooled off. And I mean, hey, I don't know, of all these center forward attacking options, he's probably the best one. Josh Sargent, although yes, he has to find his goal scoring ways again, as it's been a long, long time. And yeah, he's got to find his confidence back, which is why, as I said, Ricardo Pepi, even then, I think Ricardo Pepi, or it would be Jesus Ferreira, would be filling Josh Sargent's spot, and maybe even Brandon Vasquez could fill this spot for. So you've got options for this, one of the forward positions. But these three names, I think these are the two names, even Ricardo Pepi, I think those three could probably be Greg Bolcher's probably go to and call ups for Qatar. And Dike honestly was, I would say, was maybe after Josh Sargent, he was fifth on this list. Josh Sargent was sixth, and of course Joey Zalto was like the last think about. But yeah, I think Dike was like fifth down on this list. If you had to play him on the center forward, there are definitely better options. But yeah, those three names. And then we go to our right wingers, which then again, hey, I know they say right, left, center, but Greg Bolcher typically plays these players anywhere, and they can therefore play anywhere. So, but we'll just go for right now for our six. We'll focus on the names on who can possibly step up and fill the shoes, or who would just honestly like take Dike's place, or even if Dike was not guaranteed. And here is Tim Weah, which yes, most likely, should he stay healthy, Tim Weah, I do expect him to be on that plane to Qatar. Gio Reyna, which he's been on and off of injury, but when he's healthy, he's pretty good. But even as I said, even when he comes back from injury, as he did, he's got to build his way back up with Dortmund, and that doesn't happen overnight, and it's going to take a while. But once it does, maybe he might be on the plane. I mean, he very well might be on the plane, but I don't know. He might come off the bench because he's not really informed yet. So Gio Reyna would definitely be over Dike. I mean, to say the same with Tim Weah. Paul Arriola too would he's definitely another Greg Bolcher go-to guy, as I can definitely see him over Dike. Although a lot of people don't like that because Arriola is okay rather than Dike, but I mean, Paul Arriola's been healthy, and when he kind of created some chances, but even then, I think once again, Dike is still way too many options for him. That it would have been the breakthrough if he was healthy. And scoring still, there's just too many options, especially if the USA, the way they play is typically a 4-3-3, three up top. I really didn't see Dike breaking out of the top three. And once again, not sound like a downer to him, but it's just the way the U.S. depth pool is, and you've got all these names here, even the three that I added to the list or to this one, and even the three I took away. So it's just too many names. And look at our left wingers for our final one, Christian Pulisic, which that's Captain America. Come on, you have to play him, and he is not going to ride the pine. Jordan Morris is another one, which he just got back from injury, and he's starting to find his form back, which Greg Bolcher, he's starting to become, of course, or make his way back into one of Greg Bolcher's go-to persons. Jonathan Lewis, who's maybe maybe they're on the same page, because Jonathan Lewis, I think he played a couple World Cup qualifying games, but he looked he looked decent, but not outstanding. And Christian Mueller was, once again, they were pretty decent. I don't think he played a single World Cup qualifying game, but Mueller, maybe he was in the Gold Cup, but he looked alright. But once again, just like Dike, it's just too many names that they would have had to break through. And as I said, even if you include Ricardo Pepi, Jesus Ferreira, and now Brandon Vasquez, it's just there's too many options. So this is why, once again, I know unlike Rodon's injury, and every injury it hurts, but this is why too many fans defense this injury of DK won't really hurt the USA's attacking options that badly, especially as he's been dealing with injuries for a while now. So the USA at this point has really identified new number nines or new attacking options, and yeah, it's just the way the ball bounces for DK, and it sucks because he was really, really enjoyable and fun to watch. I mean, he was big. He still is, still big, physical, and he was fast. He was muscling people off, and the only thing about him that really kind of, even if he was healthy, that really kind of kept him off was his just inability to calm down and settle himself before he shot the ball, because even then he was big and used his strength, he was always off balance, and when he shot, it never really, or it was kind of on and kind of off. So that was his only weakness, or his major weakness in this case, was just he had to learn how to settle himself, because he was a little too wonky, and I'm pretty sure a lot of fans saw that, which also impacted his spot kind of in his ranking along the USMNT's attacking. So this is why it's probably another reason why the injuries are really, this injury is not really a huge concern, but it is a disappointment for him personally. As I said, it will get to him emotionally as well as physically. But as I said in Rodon's video, it's sports, and all you can do is play your game and just do everything you can to stay physically fit. And the way things bounce is the way things bounce. Nothing you can do about it. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but hey, on the bright side for the USA, at least they've got loads of names here. Everybody competing for that number 9 spot, and even the 2 attacking options that you can rotate. So this injury, it'll sting for him, but it won't really sting the USA's attacking options a lot. But that's pretty much all I got to say for this video about DK. I had to make sure I did a video on injuries, since we were just talking about injuries, and so mine as well. But yeah, this one for him personally, it'll suck. But if you like this video, make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Also tell your friends that, make sure you hit the bell notification on when any video is uploaded or posted. And tell your friends that Dike is once again injured and may not be on the World Cup roster.